Oops, Roger. Heck?
We are live
right.
from CES. So as soon as everybody says their ready check is ready, we're going to get started here a little early. Tell your friends.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, Sarah's doing it right now.
I tweeted. I twattered.
Day 2 Live CES. Join us or suffer in disgrace.
I don't know. It rhymes with water. Yeah, can't take it back.
What has been heard cannot be unheard.
It
Now
is
Roger
known.
will judge you. But he was judging all of us already. He does that.
Thrumwald thinks we could fit at least 2 or 3 more people at this table. I appreciate your faith.
A lot of touching ankles. Not really.
Ew.
Keep it thing between us.
Stop touching my ankle.
What's the thing? Air?
Chair. Air.
Molecules? Many
full of
molecules.
nitrogen and oxygen. And
It's like 70% nitrogen. It's great. Practically non-conductive unless you get the voltage up high enough. And then you're dead anyway, so quit bitching. Oops, sorry.
Man, all those people listening to Good Day Internet now gonna write into tech thing. All right. As soon as we are tweeted.
Tom, the only thing is I don't see where you. Okay, here we go.
See it now?
Hold on.
Oh, I didn't delete.
Is that what you're noticing? Tweet deck.
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
Did you delete it?
Huh?
Okay, it's all good. I'll just.
Yeah.
Then we're fine. Everything's fine here, folks. Nothing to see here. Move along. Well, actually, don't move along. Stay, because we're going to do a show pretty much right now. All right. Roger, how do you feel?
I feel a little warm.
Well, it was better than yesterday. It was quite cold in here because all the doors were open.
There's like literally 100 times more people on time.
Yeah, it's probably literally true. All right, I'm going to adjust our opening, and then Sarah.
Yes, Tom.
Would you be willing to read the opening line on line 3?
Okay.
Would you do it anyway?
No, I am willing, and I was born ready.
Okay, Patrick Beja. Rob Krekel. That's how you say Rob's name. Got it?
Here we go.
Krekel?
Krekel. And 3, 2, 1.
Rob Krekel has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Be like Rob, will ya? Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, January 8th, 2019 in Las Vegas Convention Center at CES 2019. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Sarah Lane.
And bringing up the rear on the show's producer.
Very happy to have some guests with us today from Tech Thing, Patrick Norton.
Hey, everybody.
And also joining us, and I don't want to get the name of your business wrong, so I'll let you say it, Paul Spade.
From the New Zealand Tech Podcast.
Thank you. You'd think that with a show that is almost as descriptive as Daily Tech News Show, I wouldn't forget that, but I was just scared that I was going to say it wrong.
Well, I do wear a few hats.
That's true. Thank you both for joining us and taking time out of your valuable CES day, where minutes are very scarce, to join us. Folks, if you're listening and you hear a lot of noise in the background, that's because CES has actually begun. Yesterday it was forklift noise. Today it's the noise of booths playing music and demonstrating speakers and all that sort of stuff. But we are braving the waters here to bring you the important things to know about CES. IBM was awarded the most patents last year, though patents granted declined 3.5%. Panasonic announced the world's most cinematic OLED TV, in their words, and Sony showed off a karaoke speaker with cup holders. Here are a few other tech things you should know.
At the end of trading on Monday, Amazon passed Microsoft to become the most valuable company in the world. Congratulations, Jeff. Microsoft, which took over the title on November 28th, was up 0.1%, but Amazon rose 3.4% to take the lead. You can expect companies to continue to trade places at the top all year long.
Verizon issued a press release criticizing AT&T's practice of labeling advanced LTE functions as 5GE on customers' phone. Verizon said, "We won't take an old phone and just change the software to turn the 4 into a 5. T-Mobile also criticized AT&T for duping customers. Now, Verizon has its own non-standard 5G service, so has taken some criticism themselves. And T-Mobile labels its 3G HSPA Plus service as 4G to this very day. However, Verizon's feeling pretty good about itself because it beat estimates for monthly subscribers, adding a net 650,000 in Q4, ahead of expectations of 355,600.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced via a blog post his New Year's resolution is to host a bunch of public discussions about the future of technology in society.
I'm sorry. That was the outside voice.
I think he was serious. But previous resolutions from Zuck included learning Mandarin, killing any meat that he eats, and fixing Facebook.
A 20-year-old man in Hesse, Germany, has confessed to publishing the private information of around 1,000 politicians, journalists, and celebrities on Twitter. He says he acted alone, teaching himself skills online. The information seems to have been acquired over the course of 2018 by exploiting vulnerabilities to gain access to accounts. We don't know any details, whether it was phishing or exploitations or what, but it was combined with some public information to create the links.
IBM unveiled the IBM Q System 1, a 20-qubit quantum computer with improved stability, meaning that resets used to take days now take hours. IBM didn't announce sales of the device, what will be available for use in the cloud. Companies and research institutes interested in exploring experimental programming on IBM's quantum computers can join the IBM Q network research community being launched in partnership with Fermilab, ExxonMobil, and CERN.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Intel's announcements yesterday. I'm going to work through these and then we'll get Patrick and Paul's takes on it. Intel demonstrated its first 10-nanometer chips for PCs based on the Sunny Cove architecture with Thunderbolt 3, Wi-Fi 6, and Deep Learning Boost, or DL Boost. Intel says PC makers will have devices with Ice Lake processors on the shelves by the end of 2019. It's been a couple of years since they said 10-nanometer was coming. They promise it's really coming this year. Intel also discussed its plans to use Foveros 3D chip stacking to stack chiplets on top of one another for extra processing power and graphics. We talked about that previously on the show. Intel also announced 6 new 9th-gen chips covering the Core i3 to Core i9 categories, shipping later this month. And also said it would bring its 9th-gen processor to laptops in the H series coming sometime in Q2. Intel announced a partnership with Comcast for 10 gigabit per second service. That's 10 gigabit per second service and Wi-Fi 6 connectivity as an alternative to 5G using Intel's Puma system on a chip. That's the one that's been hacked in the past. Comcast expects its first 10 gig service to arrive in 2020, but that doesn't mean Intel isn't into 5G. Oh no, Project Athena is Intel's push to get companies to make ultrabooks with 5G and AI built in using Intel specs, though Intel isn't sharing those specs publicly. A roadmap is being shared with manufacturers. Acer, Asus, Dell, Google, HP, Innolux, Lenovo, Microsoft, Samsung, and Sharp are all working on Project Athena, and it includes Chrome OS and Windows. And finally, Intel is working with Facebook on an AI chip during the second half of the year to go up against AI chips from NVIDIA and Amazon Web Services. The chip's designed to help with inference, which puts AI algorithms to use. And Intel has done inference chips a lot. In fact, they're the predominant market share in inference chips right now. So it's just making a new one with Facebook. All right, lots of chip news there. Patrick, anything that sticks out to you or impressed you?
You know, the thing that stuck out was like a Core i5 with 6 cores, which means it's going to be a medium-priced system from Intel with hopefully some excellent performance, which made me think, oh, they mentioned processors at CES at the beginning. It's like they care about people who buy computers again, which actually I'm mocking, but I'm actually dead serious because the day before, AMD announces all these particularly impressive mobile Ryzen parts running at 7 nanometer. Intel kind of lost its way on process. They're struggling both in terms of sort of like repairing their relationship. I mean, and they make money hand over fist without having the advanced processes.
They're not hurting yet. No.
They're not hurting yet. But I'm really curious to see if they can pull this off. I'm really curious to see where the parts end up. I'm really curious to see if they have as big a chunk of 5G base stations as they say. They're talking about 40% share by 2020. So there's a lot of, kind of classic, forward-looking, enthusiastic Intel stuff. I was just so excited they actually talked about processors like they were an important part of the business, instead of being like, we're going to change the world with automated drone guidance software, and this is our launch partner, and this is the only company that worked with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Project Athena is a little bit in that tradition.
I think of Project
Somewhat.
Athena being, it's funny because I was like in the thing, and that was more information than I got out of the presentation. Like one of the people I said, like, they were like, I was looking backstage, or I was looking on the stage, and it looked like they had sort of a dual screen device that's using non-verbal input, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's they talked this much about Project Athena, and then they moved on.
Yeah,
like, it's going to change the way you compute, and I'm like, oh, I remember when this was going to change the way we compute. Intel.
Well, there you go. Did anything from Intel stick out to you, Paul?
The Wi-Fi 6. I think, to me, that's really important that Intel gets behind that. Otherwise, we're all waiting, even though we've got, people bringing out various bits and pieces. Until Intel are really in boots and all, then we're not going to see that the Wi-Fi 6, which is what it used to be, 802.11 AX, I think. Wi-Fi 6 is probably a better name.
It's a little easier to say, for sure. Also, by the way, Nick wrote in and said that he wished we had talked more about NVIDIA announcing support for AMD FreeSync VISA adaptive sync monitors. Have you heard a lot of people talking about that?
That is the first I've heard anyone talking about it.
Yeah, that's what Nick was mad about. He said, nobody's talking about this. Why isn't anyone talking about it?
It was sorry. I was going to say, it basically, FreeSync is open source and basically does what G-Sync does. Don't hate mail me. I know it's not quite the same thing, but if they're supporting FreeSync monitors, it means there's less expensive monitors that will do some pretty impressive, frame rates. I like it.
Yeah. Dave wrote in about the LG rollable OLED TV, saying the perfect thing to have it unroll in front of is a window, darkening the room, eliminate the glare, and when you roll it down, you have your view. Patrick, I know you have some thoughts about the OLED TV too. Everybody's trying to figure out what they'll do with it, I think.
I literally, all I care about is I saw that, and it's like, I feel like it's the first time in forever I've seen a that kind of a demo at CES and just been like, yes, I feel like I'm 16 and just saw my first CD player. That's so cool. I just want to see it. Like, I've been working my way towards the LG booth all morning because I want to see a demo or see it, and I don't want it to suck. And right now I'm on this high of being like, that's really neat tech, and I'm enthusiastic. Yeah, like my cynic hasn't beaten my inner enthusiastic child to death yet. I'm trying to hold on to that for a little bit. Do
you think it wins best of CES? It feels like the thing everybody's talking about at this point. Anyway.
The thing that struck me is like Samsung's like, we have a 98-inch QLED panel that nearly presents the quality of OLED.
You're stealing Sarah's
and
thunder.
LG's like, look. And everybody's like, yeah! So
well, we talked a little bit about, especially people who move around a lot or live in smaller houses with perhaps smaller living rooms. It gives you a little bit more room to play around with a space that could be your media center, but also other things. But Dave's note about the window, I hadn't even really thought about, and that's so true. How many times have you walked into a room and been like, well, where would the TV go? You can't put it in front of the window. That's weird. But when you have something like this, you have a lot more options.
You could. And it's just, there's so many rooms you walk into, and the big black screen that's not displaying anything dominates the room.
Right,
And they're horrendous designer. It's a really neat idea, as long as it works and doesn't disintegrate. After 100 rollings and unrollings, you have that look like, yes, I want to see the lifespan.
And I want to know when it's going to be affordable so that we can all have one, right? Because when we see these things, yes, they start really expensive, but most of the cool stuff eventually gets to a price point where we can afford it. But how long will it take?
Well, on the subject of Samsung, Samsung also announced a few laptops, such as the 13-inch Notebook 9 Pro, has thin bezels, shallow keys, and an aluminum case, quad-core 8th Gen Intel Core i7 8565U processor, 256 gigs of PCIe NVMe SSD storage, 27 Thunderbolt 2, rather, not 27. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
2 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports, a regular USB-C port as well, headphone jack, micro SD card slots, to round it out. It's a pretty cool machine. A Windows Hello fingerprint reader is built into the power button. 1080p touchscreen, 2-in-1, so you can use it as a tablet as well. Samsung says it should arrive in early 2019, though we didn't get a price yet. The company also announced the $350 notebook Flash with Celeron and Pentium processors, 4 gigs of RAM, round keys, and full Windows Home, aimed at students, and arrives on January 15th.
Oh, Chromebooks.
$350. I mean, it's a nice price. For
You seem to be
students.
oohing and ahhing at the Notebook 9 Pro, huh? Anybody? No?
I
Somebody
just I like the Windows Hello fingerprint readers.
Yeah.
They're just nice, and it's a nice looking notebook actually.
Yeah, Samsung. I think that's the story here. Is not the specs so much; it's that Samsung making some competitive notebooks. You know,
And aesthetically appealing ones.
yeah. Bell Nexus gave CES folks an update on its vertical takeoff and landing, or VTOL, air taxi. The company showed off a scale model of its hybrid electric propulsion aircraft that uses 6 tilting ducted fans to seat 5 people. It will be supposedly available for hailing in some cities through Uber's service by the mid-2020s, though it'll have to be all electric by that point, because Uber requires all electric, not the hybrid. So they're up to something there. Uber and Bell Nexus are among 19 companies developing flying car plans. You got to see this a little bit, Paul.
Yeah, I went to the press event and spoke to a few of the chaps there. This is pretty interesting, but yeah, I am curious why they're going for this hybrid electric approach, and I guess that's because they're traditionally come from that helicopter background. So getting into electric, maybe that's going to take them a little bit longer to be fully electric.
I think they're also
There's
hedging their bets in case the
some-
taxi services don't pay off. They can sell it to somebody who wants to use it for longer range, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly, and I mean, there's still some challenges, I think, around the idea of the electric air taxi and charging and swapping out batteries, and whether there will actually be a really big market for this stuff, whether it will fly.
Will it fly? I don't know. And they've gone from just showing the cabin to showing a scale model. Maybe next year we see an actual prototype, full
Maybe a
size,
scale model that flies.
or a scale model that flies. That's probably more likely. Honestly.
I'm just thinking like the power to weight mass battery ratio thing. I feel is not quite there yet for this.
It looks like it would be really heavy. Looks like it would be a struggle to get it off the ground.
But it looks good.
Motive is adding security features to its heart rate sensing smart ring to let it make payments. You can do it all. The company also says it can read your heart's EKG accurately enough to verify your identity. A software update will bring the capability to Motive rings in the second half of this year. The company is also registered already as a FIDO device for 2-factor authentication using gestures.
Yeah, man, this is a pivot, and it's not even a full pivot. It's saying, we made this ring for 2FA, but you know what? We could do health, and you know what else? We could
Payments.
use your heart rate to verify you for payments. Like, it's pretty nifty.
Yes. Will it work?
So we got fingerprints, we got retinas, now we have heart flutters.
Just tap with your ring to pay.
Everyone is a special snowflake.
You could fist bump to pay.
You are a special snowflake.
I like it.
So
I
are
want
you.
one.
Yeah, I said I've always been curious about this as a 2-factor thing, but the gestures thing felt a little odd to me. Fist bump to pay, though, I'm in. IBM's The Weather Company, which I always want to tell people, The Weather Company runs the Weather Channel app. The Weather Channel television network licenses the name and everything to do the Weather Channel, but it's owned by a separate company. So even though they're both called the Weather Channel and they have the same logo, 2 different companies, IBM owns the Weather Company, which makes the Weather Channel app, and that combination announced the Global High Resolution Atmospheric Forecasting System, or GRAPH, to combine data from weather stations, aircraft sensors, and app users' smartphone pressure sensors, the barometric pressure sensors in your phone,
Oh, wow.
in order to create more accurate forecasts. IBM says Graph will offer 3-kilometer resolution in some places, once this is up and running, and update forecasts hourly. Users of the app will have to opt in. This is important, especially because the Weather Channel is being sued by the city of Los Angeles for privacy violations. You have to opt in to contribute your barometric pressure readings to the system. Graph will roll out globally later this year.
This looks cool. I like it. I do wonder about the opting in, whether they're going to get enough people to opt in. I think maybe they have to tempt you with some, premium
I'm sure they'll prompt
subscription
you, right?
or something.
I don't
or
know. The weather nerds like me will probably just want to do this.
you just turn it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair point.
I dark skies on the front of my phone, so anything that helps make that more accurate, I'm down with. So
Yeah.
barometric pressure from everyone.
All right, let's talk about financial disaster, shall we?
Sure.
Because it's
Take a
not
break from
just
CES.
Apple. Yeah, other tech companies are also facing some headwinds, like LG, which announced its Q4 profit likely fell 80% year over year, and revenue likely fell 7%. Thinning profit margins and declining smartphone businesses are among the likely causes. Now, Samsung also announced an estimated 29% drop in quarterly profit for the last quarter of 2018, issued commentary along with guidance for the first time since mobile phone sales dropped in 2014. Samsung blamed unexpected weak demand from data center customers for chips. Data centers, mostly in the US, make almost 30% of demand for Samsung's DRAM chips. Prices for DRAM chips fell 10% in Q4. The company also blamed a, quote, stagnant and fiercely competitive smartphone market. And then contributing to all of this is the worldwide decline in smartphone shipments, particularly a slowing market in China. China's Academy of Information and Communications Technology says that smartphone shipments in the country were down 15.5%. Canalys estimates that shipments fell 12% in China and expects them to drop below 400 million in 2019 for the first time since a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is a knock-on effect too. When Samsung says that their DRAM chips prices fell, part of that has to do with data centers, not related to phones, but also they're not making as much money selling chips to phone makers. Right. So that is contributing to it. This decline in the Chinese market is going to have a knock-on effect to a lot of companies, especially the companies that aren't growing. I mean, it's certainly going to hurt Huawei because Huawei sells the majority of its phones in China, but it has such a big market share there, it can weather the storm a little more. Whereas Samsung and Apple were already declining because of competition, and then you add a slowing market on top of it, that really hurts them.
The other thing is in China, I think we'll see people gravitating towards the Chinese brands now, right? They're making
maybe a little bit,
they're making good devices now. They're competitive. So if you've got a choice between a local and an international brand phone, and the local one seems just as good or better, what are you going to choose?
Even though they're all technically local, since almost all of them are made in a Chinese factory. But yeah, I mean, the perception is the brand is it's a domestic company. All right, let's talk a little bit about some stuff that we saw at CES. A production model of Royol's foldable tablet is on display here. The Flex Pi. It's PAI, not PIE. Folds from a 7.8 inch AMOLED tablet into a thick smartphone form. Runs on a Snapdragon 855 chipset with either 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage, and Android 9.0 Pie. The Royal was debuted in Beijing in October and has been on sale for around $1,300 there since. This is its first Western Hemisphere debut. You got we Sarah and I got to see it. You got to see it too, Paul.
Yeah.
A lot of oohing and eyeing, but it was also sort of odd.
It's an unusual
it does
form
fold,
factor, isn't it?
It does fold, but I mean, when are you ever going to fold it inwards, where the display itself has folded around the back of the device?
It does a little bit of modifying the interface when you fold it, but not enough to really look like a phone to me. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder whether, maybe this is the sort of device for people who are really short-sighted. They need everything really large. I'm not sure there's a mainstream application for it. Yes, I was able to fold it in half, squeeze it into my big, pockets, but I can't imagine it being sort of an everyday phone. And you're going to have some challenges around battery life with a screen that's that big.
Yeah.
It's got this about a 4,200 milliamp hour battery, which is fine for a normal phone, but I don't think you're going to get all
up to several hours of life while using it as a tablet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but it's also it's CES, and admittedly this came up before CES, but there's always so many products you look at and say, like, someone had an idea and they made it happen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and Royal could become perfectly successful selling this display to other manufacturers too.
Yes.
It may not be the end product maker, but they need to display it to get those other manufacturers to see, like, oh yeah, that's a real working thing.
And they had a lot of other things on their stand that were all, bent, curvy, flexy display things. So I guess this is their space. They're certainly getting some publicity off the back of it.
Well, there's a lot to see at CES. We're going to talk about a few more things, but Patrick Norton's got to go see some of those things now. So Patrick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go learn about Wi-Fi 6, which I was curious to see if it would actually be Wi-Fi 6 or 802.11x, but see, people are hedging their bets by using both in every press release.
802.11ax Wi-Fi 6. Yeah. Tech Thing, folks, go check out Tech Thing.
Please do. TEKTHING.com or YouTube.com/TechThing. Or Robert here and I host AV Excel, which is a home theater and audio podcast. And you guys are awesome. And thank you so much, man.
Thanks,
You're awesome
Patrick.
too, you special snowflake.
See you, Patrick.
All right, what else did we see, Sarah? I know there was some cool stuff you saw yesterday at the digital experience.
Yeah, which is there was actually a good show there last night, but a couple things stuck out to me. Of course, I have pets, so any pet technology is in my wheelhouse. PetCube was one of a few companies that had some cool pet stuff on display. PetCube debuted the Bites 2 and Play 2 pet dispenser speaker combos, 2 different models, both powered with Amazon's voice assistant now. It didn't used to be that way, so I could remotely say, hey, tell PetCube to feed Otis. It also has support for other Amazon skills like playing music and controlling lights, etc. Both of the devices have an expanded 180 degree angle lens, used to be 130, I believe, to view a room, has 4 mics, offers real-time smart alerts for things like if Otis is going nuts barking and I might want to ask my neighbor if everything's okay. The Bites 2 cost $249. The Play 2 is running $199. In the security camera arena, Motorola also showed off Halo, which is a baby monitor that attaches to a cot or crib for an overhead 1080p view of your baby with IR night vision up to 10 meters, 2-way audio that senses motion, or maybe if your baby's crying, or your cat, I don't know, whatever, anything that can fit in a crib. The Halo can also project moving images onto the ceiling, play lullabies, and other recordings, such as maybe you singing a lullaby. If you're already on the other side of the house and you think, what, all they really want is to hear my voice. I don't have to get up and do that. I don't have a baby, but that seems pretty convenient to me. This goes for $249 or $299. That includes a baby monitor screen as well.
Roger, I know you talked extensively to those folks, and you have you have an actual baby and a young daughter as well.
So I was looking at the Halo, and it was a very interesting product, but my biggest concern with a lot of those products is that while they do certain things, like they measure the motion of the child, but as a parent, you're looking like, how often are they going in the diaper, right, overnight? How full is their diaper? And potentially they measure cries. For example, babies cry in different pitches indicate different moods or if they're sick. Motorola, both of them were working on not the possibility to do that, but not many. And I'm thinking, like, up until all those things coalesce around into a comprehensive device, yeah, it's helpful, but it's not as helpful as I would be as a new, like with a newborn, or even on top of that, there are certain aspects to your child being measured that are more than just whether or not it's.
Roger also talked to the folks from OLEDcom about Li-Fi Max, which mounts on your ceiling and uses invisible light from an LED to deliver up to 100 megabits per second connectivity over 28 square meters, or up to 28 square meters. It's an upgrade from its lamp. We talked about it last year. The lamp would deliver 23 megabits per second, but only where the lamp shine. This one, being on the ceiling, can reach a lot more places in your room. And it's pricey. It costs $900 for the transmitter and 1 dongle. If you want to attach dongles to other devices, you're going to have to order more of those separately. It's available for pre-order now, shipping in September. Roger, any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, they were really pushing the security aspect by using this connection. They say, unlike Wi-Fi or any kind of other regular frequency-based packet transmission, can't be intercepted. Waves aren't going to go through the wall. It's going to be right there at your desk. The light would basically dissuade or prevent people from looking in. I asked them if they were doing any sort of active encryption other than just connect that to the specific vision system. So I mean, you would still need to do some sort of encryption, whether it's a PIN, tunneling protocol, or even SSL, if you want to ensure that your data in your network is fully encrypted. It's a very interesting novel idea. I'm wondering if that sort of security through no one else has this technology yet is going to last more than a year.
So, in other words, people in glass houses shouldn't use this.
Yeah, very
Before we have a bunch of other stuff we're going to summarize just to keep you up to date on some of the cooler things we've been seeing. But before we get to that, anything else? Any thoughts on any of this stuff we've been talking about, Paul?
No, there was one thing I saw, and I'm trying to remember the brand name of it. It was over in Southall that was basically appeared to create an image in plain space in the air.
Oh yes,
And
hollow vision maybe.
yeah, that might be it.
I saw that too.
Basically,
It's a propeller.
it's a propeller that has LEDs on it, but you don't see the propeller moving. You see the lights.
Yeah.
I don't think it's brand new, but it looked really cool. It's about $2,000 US.
Yeah.
They had an array of 77 of them lined up for a really
Pretty
big
impressive,
floating image, which was slick.
All right, let's get to some other CES stuff you should know.
Yubico announced a new version of its second factor authentication key that supports Apple's Lightning connector and USB-C. Apps already support USB, but a new code will be needed for apps to support Lightning. Yubico is also adding an NFC-enabled version of its USB key as well. Previously, those were only available as separate devices. Now they're integrated. The new key should come out after a private preview sometime this year.
Dell's new XPS 13 laptop has moved the camera. It used to be down at the bottom, so whenever someone was on an XPS 13, you saw up their nose when you're on a video conference. Now it's up at the top, where
Dell.
most other laptops put it. It's also Dell's smallest camera yet at 2.2 millimeters, meaning that the bezel stays thin.
NVIDIA announced Drive Autopilot platform to bring level 2 plus autonomous driving to systems from German automotive suppliers Continental AG and ZF Friedrichshafen starting next year. My Swiss cousins are rolling their eyes right now. ZF is also offering the option to use a chip from Xilinx instead of NVIDIA. The level 2 vehicles would do things like highway merge, lane change, lane splits, personal mapping, and so on. Drive Autopilot is part of the NVIDIA Drive platform.
Lenovo announced the Yoga A940 27-inch all-in-one PC with a hinge that adjusts similar to the Microsoft Surface Studio. It also has a stylus and a dial. You can get it in QHD or 4K resolution, both of which support Dolby Vision HDR and tilt to a 25-degree drafting mode. Has an 8th gen Intel Core i7 processor, Radeon RX 560 discrete GPU, up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, and either a 512 gigabyte PCIe SSD or a 2 terabyte hard drive. Coming in March, starting at $2,350, so it's about $1,000 cheaper than the Surface Studio. Lenovo also introduced an alarm clock with Google Assistant inside that can charge devices over USB and play music, and that's $80 coming up in the spring.
Here's a roundup of Google announcements at CES, of which there were many. First and foremost, for me, Google promises for really this time, Google Assistant is coming to Sonos speakers with the Sonos One and Sonos Beam first in line. It says it'll roll out to all Sonos speakers eventually, which is great news for anybody who's already got that system in their house. It's also coming to the Instant Pot. Yes, you heard it right. Dishes, hoppers, set-top boxes as well. In our car devices from JBL and Anker. Google Assistant got some new features too. These are really cool, including the ability to check you into flights via your voice, book hotels, translate 27 different languages, among more. Finally, Google Connect is a new lightweight platform that developers can use to connect devices to Google Home without having to build internet connectivity into the device itself. For instance, an e-ink screen that could show you your calendar or the weather just by talking to the Google Home.
Coming to Maps as well, which is pretty cool. HTC showed off the Vive Cosmos that has cameras that don't require external tracking equipment. It can be powered by PC, laptop, or the thing that made it newsworthy, possibly by a phone at some point in the future. No price on this, but it's expected to launch later this year. It features a flip-up screen. That was the other cool thing about it, so you can see the world without having to actually take the headset all the way off. HTC also showed a new version of the Vive Pro with eye tracking called the Vive Pro Eye. That one's coming in April. And HTC announced Vive Port Infinity, an upgrade to the subscription service that'll give you access to 500 titles. Previously, the subscription only gave you 5 games a month, so a lot more games. The new service launches April 5th, but we don't know how much it'll cost yet. And finally, HTC is working with Mozilla on a browser optimized for VR.
Sony's got new TVs too. The company announced an 8K LCD TV and a 4K OLED TV as part of its Master Series. The Z9G 8K comes in 85 and 98-inch models, 98 inches, and the A9G runs 55, 65, and 77-inch models. Sony says its 8K TVs have an algorithm to provide, quote, exceptional detail and contrast for a more realistic picture that represents the creator's intent. It also claims to have a proprietary algorithm for upscaling 4K content to 8K. Both models offer Netflix calibrated mode, IMAX enhanced, and Dolby Vision Atmos that run Android TV. And also, both these models and the X9 550G series will support Apple's AirPlay and HomeKit as well. No pricing though, no ship dates just yet.
There is so much going on at CES. I hope we've given you a good representative cross-section of that. We'll continue to do it tomorrow as well. But there's lots of places to talk about what we're talking about, too.
There sure are. Yeah, we try to catch everything, but we need your help. Participate in our subreddit if you're so inclined. You can submit stories. You can also up or downvote other stories at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. If you like to hang out on Facebook, well, good. We have a group there, facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
And finally, before we're out of here, we should check the mailbag.
Let's do it. Andy in Montreal said in response to the Zuvix debate.
Vuzix. I think he misspelled that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Vuzix. That's right. Debate of, is it better on your face or your wrist? And Andy says, obviously, you or your original emailer, I believe it was Matt, don't live in the Great White North because at minus 30 degrees plus wind chill, you don't pull up your sleeves to look at a watch and you are unable to see anything clearly on your fogged up glasses. So
Okay.
we're going to have to figure out somewhere else to put this thing.
Yeah, might not work in that particular situation. It's a fair point. Yeah. You got to try the glasses on.
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. The Vuzix booth was at Digital Experience last night, and because we had been talking about the idea of our smart glasses finally ready for prime time. Do they fit? Do they look good? We tried them on, and it was definitely cool. The display was easy to see. The navigation controls were easy to understand. It's pretty simple, but I could get around okay. They did feel chunky in a bad way, though. They folded my ears down because they were just a little.
You have the famous ear issues with the AirPods too. Yeah.
Well, but the AirPods don't do this. You don't want your ears to look like Dumbo when you're wearing glasses. It's the reason you don't buy certain types of sunglasses. They just don't fit your face well. I wouldn't personally wear these. They just weren't comfortable. But I see that we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. All right.
We're
And
getting there.
if you want to see Sarah wearing the glasses, check out our Instagram, instagram.com/DTNSPix. That's PIX, DTNSPIX.
Yes. Maybe, they could be a little bit more flattering, but it was fun to try them on. Always fun to see where companies are going with this. Also, always fun to have Paul Spain with us. Haven't seen you since CES last year. So, Paul, let folks know where they can keep up with all of your work.
NZ Tech Podcast and paulspain.com, the new project I'm still working on, Disruption Playbook, is at disruptionplaybook.com, doing a few interviews here over the next couple of days in regards to innovation and disruption and how companies do it and pass and fail at it.
Yeah, all right. Go check that out, folks. Thanks again to Patrick Norton from techthing.com and avexcel.com. And huge thanks to the people who make it possible for us to be here. It's not free to get here and stay here, and it's because of you that we can do it. So thank you for supporting us on PayPal, by buying merch at dailytechnewsshow.com/store, by listening to the ads on the free feed, or the 95% plus of our funding, which comes from patreon.com/DTNS. Right now, we're running a deal. It's a beta program with Patreon where they will send you merchandise if you stay a patron for 3 months. So as of January 2nd, everybody who's at a tier, the clock starts ticking. And if you join now, the clock starts ticking from the moment you join. If you stay at the co-executive producer and analyst level, in 3 months, you'll get a 5-year anniversary sticker with the art made by Len Peralta. If you stay at the advisor level for 3 months, you get a poster, same art from Len Peralta. And the master level folks get a mug. So all that is available at patreon.com/DTNS/merch if you want to find out more.
If you've got feedback for us, questions, comments, or the like, our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you'd like to join us live, we are live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 21:30 UTC. And you can find out more, tell a friend at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Robert Heron and Shannon Morse. Talk to you then.
Show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right. That was
That was a
we
lot.
packed it in again.
We did
How
it.
did we do it again?
I don't know.
No idea. That was amazing. Thank you again, Paul. That was awesome, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, really good.
It's always fun.
Now, Roger, people were saying they're having a hard time hearing you.
It's because everybody was here. Because they were listening.
Or whether you have-
No. They're having problems with
Oh, Discord people couldn't hear you. That makes sense then. Okay.
Right audio.
So the recording will be fine.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Apologies, Discord, folks. That was an oversight on my part. We're not routing Roger into the.
You'd probably get less of the background noise if Roger was on one of these, though, right?
Well, yeah, we just didn't have enough ports,
Yeah.
so we had to go with that today.
I just
All right.
ordered the Zoom L12 mixer. Have you seen that one?
No, I do like the Zoom stuff. What's the L12 like?
What are the standard? Well, it's got a Zoom recorder built into it, so you can have a backup as well as whatever you're feeding into iPad or Mac or what have you, which was the big standout for me, as well as it being fully multi-channel. So you know, if you want to, you can have everyone feeding into different channels for audition and whatnot.
So it has all the smarts inside,
and it'll take up to eight mics. I think.
Okay.
It's,
I mean, this is a warhorse. I've had this for more than 10 years, and it just always works.
Still works perfectly.
So that's why I haven't replaced it.
Yeah.
But
good
technology
size-wise
has
in this.
moved on.
Yeah.
This thing just. I mean, this is my travel mixer. It's an Alesis multi-mix, and it's been with me forever. What are you doing over there, Roger?
No, so people in Discord can hear me.
Oh, okay. He's
Sorry,
alive.
I was trying to add my voice, so it was not like I had laryngitis.
Sarah, what should we call this show?
We should call it Not Late for Dinner. No, I'm just kidding.
You used that joke yesterday. You can't recycle jokes.
I didn't hear anybody laugh yesterday, though.
Oh, okay. So it's reused.
I recycle a joke until I get the recognition it deserves, and then I move on.
Environmentally sound of you.
That's just the way it works.
You just stick to your guns like Trump.
Yeah.
We got fist bump to pay. We got Sony says hold my beer. I don't understand that one.
Because of the karaoke thing.
I
mean, it'd be hard to name the show after something that was so small.
Yeah,
but it was in there. Yeah,
that's clever though. Clever. T-Mobile can play that game too. Paying through the ring finger.
Hey,
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I like that one.
Weather nerds.
I like the ones I like the most are the ones that are very broad about CES in general, because we have so many little topics. Naming it after one almost over promises, because people are like, wait, the show was about a lot of other things. Do we have anything more general like that? Like yesterday we had the buzzword bingo. That was really good.
Hey Google, make me some soup.
You want to do fist bump to pay?
Fist bump to pay. I mean, that's not an example of a general. I mean, so you're saying there's not a good general idea, huh?
Not really.
The return of buzzword bingo. Thank you, Beatmaster.
I mean, how many people can you fit along one table is general.
That's pretty good. Is there a theme to the stuff we talked about?
Well, we were so all over the place. I mean, the theme I would think would be, well, we had buckets, right? We had earnings.
Mm-hmm.
We had just fun stuff we saw, and then
CES hasn't killed us yet. Fist bump to pay is pretty good.
You mentioned in the IRC, Bobco suggested CES2 electronic.
Oh, no boogaloos. We've already done the boogaloos. No more boogaloos. How many times do I have to say? No, we're not doing boogaloos.
What's a boogaloo anyway?
It's related to Boogie Down. I don't know.
Grunwald also suggested CES, 4 Americans and a Kiwi. So the wrong
it's very descriptive. Yeah. Fist bump to pay is going to be my fist bump to pay and more. CES 2019 fist bump to pay and more. I like CES 2019 Tuesday.
Oh, you know what? I think I know what happened with my audio. Toward the end of the show,
we can't hear you right now. We can't hear you right now on the Discord.
Oh, okay. I just saying, like, I just occurred to me toward the end, Google Hangout froze.
Yeah.
And I had to close it, and then I had to bring it back up.
So when you brought it back up, the audio wasn't there anymore or something? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, I see bars.
All the best from CES. No, nobody. Nobody. All right. Then we're going with
nuts.
Fist Bump to Pay and more.
Hang it.
CES 2019. Well, Paul, you probably need to take off, so we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Websites who play
Thank you, that was
video
fun.
Oh, good,
sound
yeah.
on by
I'll,
default.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I'll get in touch again sometime in the next little
let's,
while.
Let's do
I'm getting a new home studio set up, moved into a new place.
Oh, good.
Haven't quite got everything wired up yet.
Once it's all up and running, give us
Actually,
a
my office studio is probably fine for the time of day New Zealand wise that you record anyway.
Yeah, we're close to the same time, just the next day, right? Yeah.
So quite a cool setup now.
Yeah, cool.
All the walls have been added out and
Yeah.
soundproofed. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, stay healthy. Don't wear yourself out.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Paul.
I think I've finally learned you need to stop and have meals and
Yep,
water.
yep.
That's
and
correct.
Actually pace yourself rather than destroying yourself.
Absolutely true. You should check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Thank you so much for swinging by, dude. Sorry, I know it's kind of a pain to get
Dehydration
here.
is bad for your health.
You know what? They didn't blast that while we were
Did you get your
recording,
water?
did they? Or did I just not notice?
Yeah, they came up a little bit, but not that loud.
Not that they
So
would be,
for everyone
not
who
that they
is,
didn't, but they
couldn't,
do. I think it was just
didn't listen, I'll give a quick recap of what I.
So we have someone pitching us right now. Live pitch. What other? Do you have any other title ideas in there?
Besides Fist Bump to
Yeah.
Pay, I see what you did there, Roger.
Go away, kid. You bother me.
Oh, it's funny. Okay. Well,
for everyone, I'm going to give a quick
we also
recap
have
of
how
what I
many people
said
can
in
fit on
case you. Yep. Can you hear me?
And Disco can't hear you either.
What? All right. Hold on. I'll go over there.
Okay.
yeah, I
So
thought
you're
you
trying to give people a recap because they didn't hear you.
Yeah.
They're not going to hear you.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Is that yours? Okay.
Sorry. Apologies, everyone.
Apologies.
So, a quick recap of what I said. One was on the Motorola baby monitor. What I was saying was that it does include some really awesome technologies, but I don't think it's really that compelling over existing baby monitors that you can buy currently, mostly because it still measures things like sleep, but it measures them basically on motion of the child. Now, as a child of a 4-month-old, one of the things that I'm always kind of very conscientious of is how often my child wets her diaper. And so how heavy full the diaper is at the end, as well as any crying that she may do in the middle of the night. Different pitch cries and different duration cries could typically indicate if your child's sick or if they're just uncomfortable or if they need to eat. Really what I wanted was something with more comprehensive data. Motorola did tell me that they were working on it to include audio detection of crying and be able to use AI to analyze exactly what your child is crying about. But they didn't give me an ETA on that. The other product was the LED light transmission for data connection. Really cool idea. They don't actually offer any other encryption other than the fact that it uses LED light, and it presupposes that no one else would be able to intercept it because it's light-based, unlike radio waves like Wi-Fi or even cell 5G, 4G. It doesn't permeate through the walls, so it's very limited, very localized. However, I don't think you would want to use it just like that. You would probably still want to run some sort of encryption, whether it's VPN, SSH, whatever you do. I don't know how compelling it was. Very expensive, as Tom mentioned. It was like $900, and then for each edition, you only get one dongle for a device. You get up to 10 devices on one transmitter. I don't really know how compelling that would be over just a traditional network and telling everyone to use or setting up all the client stations to use some sort of encrypted tunneling. It's a cool idea. Maybe in the 2 years, someone would be able to have a device that would be able to intercept and decrypt or figure out what's being transmitted. Cool effort, though. I really liked it.
Yeah. So why do you have to encrypt over a regular versus a regular Wi-Fi connection? Because there's just no, like, you have password protection on your Wi-Fi, but with the light, there's no, like, anybody who could see the light could monitor the connection. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and they say they can't because it's very directional. It's very limited.
Right. And because you're in your panic room. And
Yeah,
no
exactly.
One can see you.
But I mean, it's supposing that that technology is forever locked and secured with that company, and no one else will ever figure it out, kind of thing. And the VTOL thing, I think, is pretty cool. I don't know how soon that will get to air. Though.
Bonus take. He didn't. This is not one Roger got to have on the show, so you're getting extra info.
It's very interesting because Bell worked on a very similar technology back in the '60s. When they were trying to develop a VTOL system for the U.S. Army. And they came up with ducted fans like the Mocket that you see. And then they moved on to tilt rotors, which the MV-22, the Osprey, Bell, Boeing joint production. Bell is currently actually working with Augusta Westland of Italy, developing that into a commercial, not military aircraft. They have a demonstrator right now, but I don't think they have any operators currently. Be pretty cool. It's nice to see that stuff they've researched 40 years ago has some relevance today. Also, I prefer Envy apples. Envy, ENVY.
Envy.
Yes, they're very sweet, but they're very light and crisp tasting.
Gala or Fuji? Those are my faves.
I will go as a gala for gala. Welcome to our gala. Welcome to our gala.
I've always said gala.
Well, I think
that would be like.
I think we say gala, but then Paul said they say gala in New Zealand, so that was stuck in my head. I don't think it matters. You can say it however you wish.
You have some gala coming here.
You say gala, I say gala. Let's just both have an apple.
Pie, apple pie. Man, I tried one of those pies. You know what? I don't want to dish the dirt on digital experience, but I was a little disappointed with the little hand pies.
Oh, I didn't even see the hand pies. I saw Tommy eat a brownie.
It's not that
But I didn't see a hand pie.
No one was supposed to know, Sarah.
I don't know why I just called you out. It wasn't even on topic.
No, I know.
Tommy ate a brownie.
It's not that I'm knocking the pie out of digital experience hands, but there was very little filling. It was mostly crust. You know what I mean?
This is good. The Envy is a result of a cross between a Royal Gala and a Braeburn.
Oh, I like a Braeburn too.
I do too.
Envy is a pretty good.
I had forgotten about the Braeburn entirely.
Developed in New Zealand.
How about that?
We should have given high fives to Paul
Full
about that.
circle, or circle, as they say in New Zealand.
Or circle.
How do they say it again?
Circle.
Circle.
Fush.
In the circle.
Then a fesh. That's Scotland. All right, thank you for moving over. And I know the Hangout people are like, "Why did you make him move?" But they couldn't hear him in the Discord if he was over there.
Yeah,
so.
and I also realized that when my Hangout crashed midway through the show, it picked up the wrong mic. So
that's why when it came back,
so it locked up.
Because it worked yesterday just fine.
No, it worked and then I don't know. One of the stories locked up Google. And I noticed that everyone's audio stopped in my headset.
Yeah.
And so I had to kill it to bring it back.
Kill it with fire.
Well, I killed it by quitting out. But yes,
virtual fire.
But yes, if you want, those are my opinions on the Motorola, on the LED encryption. They're very cool. I mean, I really as a dad now, I'm getting really into the health tech because not only because I have kids, but because I'm older and I'm more susceptible to ailments that come with old age. And therefore, things like monitoring my health or my kids' health and stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm almost 50, so I'm right there with you.
I wish they would have a little. I don't think Iron Maidens are a real thing, right? The thing with the spikes you step into.
Oh, the band's a real thing.
The band's a real thing, but I mean the actual medieval torture device.
There was not a real. That's fake. There was never
like,
such a thing.
That's what I read somewhere a while ago, like 10.
Yeah, but that
15.
you can't now. You can't just assert that. Like I might have read that somewhere.
So, in any case, they have a device that's like a mummy tomb or coffin. You sit in it, and like in Stargate, the movie, they can just scan you, figure out what's wrong, and then you can send that information to the doctor. Like you don't have to go in for anything. That'd be awesome. And then they, your doctor can look at it and then write prescription, don't write prescription. It's like they have a bunch of predetermined options they can choose. Like take 2 aspirin, call me in the morning, or something else.
Well, we're going to let Roger go back to that other desk because it's time to say goodbye to the video folks. Thank you for watching. And audio folks, stick around. There is more Apple talk to come.